Assam is known for her multifaceted beauty and also as a homogenized site of indigenous folk and ethnic culture. But there seems to be little knowledge about the parallel stream of a classical tradition of various art forms such as music, dance, manuscript painting, etc., which has evolved through centuries, manifesting rare refinement and sophistication. This classical tradition of multiple art forms that flourished mostly during the medieval period was an outcome of unprecedented phenomenon of Vaishnavite Bhakti movement led by Mahapurush Srimanta Shankardev, one of the greatest saints and sages of medieval India like Shankaracharya, Ramanuja, Madhavacharya and others. A great saint, scholar, poet, composer, dramatist, translator, painter, actor, dancer, social reformer, and administrator, Shankardev established the Vaishnavite monasteries called the Hatra, which became the site for flourishment of one of the classical art forms, the manuscript painting of Assam. The manuscript painting is the major narrative form of visual art of Vaishnavite tradition that grew under the Hatra patronage. The royal courts of Ahoms and Koch kings also parallelly provided the patronage. But the form shined with excellence in the premises of the Hatras with sophisticated works like the Chitra Bhagavata, Gita Govinda illustration, Ananda Lohari, Hasti Vidyarnava, etc. Chitra Bhagavata, dated 1539, is said to be the earliest work available.
এই হচিত্ৰ পুথিৰ যেটো পৰম্পৰা ঐতিহ্য এটো আৰম্ভ হৈছে সপ্তদশ শতিকাৰ শেষৰ ফালৰ পৰা অৰ্থাৎ এই কথাষাৰ এই কাৰণে ক'ব পাৰিছো.
These manuscripts can be said to be dated back to the 17th century. This can be said because this particular manuscript on the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad was written in the year 1678 and can be found in the Burka Hatra near Rongia. The next known manuscript painting was prepared in the Kamalabari Hatra of Majuli in the form of Bhakti Ratnamali in the year 1683. Gita Govinda under the royal patronage of Hargodev Rudra Singha and Ananda Lohari during the reign of Hargodev Shiva Singha, along with the 8th chapter of Bhagavad, were illustrated with painting. Thus the period between 1683 AD to the year 1732 witnessed the golden era of manuscript painting of Assam. The Chitra Bhagavad of Bali Hatra, Bor Kirtan of Koranga Katbapu Hatra, and Kirtana of Naburka Hatra are beautiful specimens of this period with identical style of painting in the manuscripts. Perhaps the best manuscript painting of the mid-18th century is the Labakukhar Juddha, which is being preserved at Kamrup Anusandhan Committee. There are two manuscripts on the same topic, and paintings in both of them are of very high standard.
সপ্তদশ শতিকাৰ অলপ মাজভাগ পাৰ হোৱাৰ লগে লগে স্বৰ্গদেউ ৰাজেশ্বৰ সিংহৰ দিনত 1759 খ্ৰীষ্টাব্দত
The Rangoli Kirtana of Koliabor Pupthuria Khatra is dated back to the year 1759 during the reign of Khorgodev Rajeshwar Singha. The paintings in this manuscript are characterized by combination of more than one style. At the advent of 19th century, illustrations of manuscripts with paintings began happening outside the premises of the Khatras and the royal courts. The manuscript painting were written on the hasipat folios prepared from the bark of the agar trees. Quite a few have folios made of tulapat, muga silk, palm leaves, and woven bamboo strips are the less common materials used for the purpose.
Hetu hol mondo. Kagozor mondo bo dikhulia process. Kagozor mondo mane ebo gelai, gurai thoi pani gurai, gelai khunde. Bangsa dibe khunde kasa di khunde na. Khula bisar taka.
Decomposed paper pulp is kept under the water and flattened and then dried up in the sun. After that, they are cut as per sizes earmarked. More the thickness of such paper, the better it is to do work on them. This is not hasipat, but tulapat. It is difficult to do painting work on hasipat. Therefore, the later period had witnessed more use of tulapat. This is a miniature manuscript done on a hasipat. And this is written with the bones of the borali fish.
Sasi bark is a unique paper of Assam which is nowhere else in the world. That is Sasi Patra, popularly known as yellow bark, Ogoru Bakoli, Ogoru Gosor. Then that is the preparation of making ink, also mohi, it's called mohi. That ink is like a never goes away from this leaf. It's a very deep ink. So like today, like after 500-600 years, maybe more in our history, you can see all the scripts, it never goes away with this kind of perishable climate, like very damp and wetty climate also. Also these paintings, manuscript paintings also, it is intact because of the technique they have made and the preservation technique they have built up in monastery in Sattriya. That is unique. It's nowhere in the world. Today also, like all these modern people, they are trying to find out the technique of preservation.
The manuscript painting of Assam has a stylistic distinction of its own. Scholars have also attributed different stylistic influences and resemblances to other traditions of Indian manuscript and miniature painting, such as Mughal, Rajasthani, Jaina tradition, and others.
স্বৰ্গদেউ শিৱসিংহৰ ৰাজসভাৰ কোনো খনিকৰে
Some chroniclers during the reign of Khorgodev Hivasingha did some painting on the manuscript of Hankhasurbod. These very high quality paintings certainly had Mughal influences, which can be seen in the hairstyles and costumes, etc. of the ladies. In the year 1713, in the royal court of Khorgodev Rudrasingha, the manuscript called Gajendra Sintamani was illustrated with paintings which dwelt upon only with elephants. In all the 18 folios of the manuscript, except for a schematic drawing of an Assamese pukhuri or tank, no other painting of local flavor are noticed. The subject matter, the costumes of human figures, the strokes of the paintings are completely different from the Sattriya tradition of painting. The influence of the Mughal artists are very prominent here, which could be the result of the movement of many talented artists from the royal courts of the Mughal kings to many provincial kingdoms. Hargodev Rudra Singha brought 8 numbers of artisans' families. One of them is known to be a family of painters whose services must have been used in the painting of some of these manuscripts. The Hastividyarnava is a very important illustrative manuscript. The manuscript painting flourishing within the Hatra premises were used as a vehicle to propagate the philosophy and teachings of Vaishnavism. It also covered a variety of subjects which embraced different branches of learning like those of Purana and Samhitas, along with interesting subjects like the profusely illustrated treatise on elephants called the Hastividyarnava. Few manuscript paintings under the patronage of royal courts dealt with Banghaoli or the lineage of the dynasty and other related issues of the Burunji or history. As we have seen, this tradition is a manifestation of stylistic amalgamation of different Indian schools. But there had been a distinct regional focus involving local attributes like hairstyle, costumes, landscape, architecture, and other accessories.
Like we have 2 different kind of manuscript paints. So one is a kind of a folk flat background manuscripts, another is using of landscapes and using of little bit of 3-dimension and profile faces. And you can see the architecture type of some of the manuscript. It is a later part of manuscript. It is a Hatiputhi, it is a Gojanda Sintamani Hatiputhi in Auniyati Satra, this one. And you can see this elephant drawing and figures. There are a little bit of similarities of Mughal painting. They are getting little bit of kind of a influence of contemporary Mughal kingdom of India. But in the early part, you can see early paintings of manuscripts. You can see it is not there. It's a purely local tradition. You see like it's a flat red background. You can see here in the wall also similar type, and profile faces and a big eyes with a dot on the top of eye. And beautifully lined drawings, nothing in landscape and background, it is flat. So it is the typical Assamese style early part of painted manuscript.
Several socio-political developments and subsequent changes, such as the advent of the British colonial rule, ushered in unprecedented repercussion in the cultural arena of Assam and the people. The patronizing institutions of this tradition suffered severe setbacks, both socio-politically and economically, which led to the dwindling of the once thriving form of manuscript painting. Now it is for the government and other related institutions to preserve, restore and sustain this form, which is a mark of Assam's cultural upliftment and remainder of a golden past.
Rashtriya Pandulupi Mission, National Manuscript Mission, আৰু এই অনুষ্ঠানৰ পিতৃস্বৰূপ অনুষ্ঠান ইন্দিৰা গান্ধী নেশ্যনেল চেণ্টাৰ অফ আৰ্টছ নিউ দিল্লী, ইন্দিৰা গান্ধী ৰাষ্ট্ৰীয় কলা কেন্দ্ৰ, এই দুই অনুষ্ঠানৰ সহযোগিতা শ্ৰীমন্ত শংকৰদেৱ কলাক্ষেত্ৰই বৰ্তমানে
in collaboration with the National Manuscript Mission and Indira Gandhi National Center of Arts, New Delhi, Srimanta Shankardev Kalakshetra Samaj has been collecting and preserving various manuscripts of Assam. The preservation is being done in two ways. First, by way of physical maintenance and cleaning, and secondly, by way of digital preservation. The manuscripts are computerized and transferred to DVDs to make them user-friendly.
আৰু এই পুথিবোৰ সংৰক্ষণ কৰিবলৈ যাওঁতে সেয়ে প্ৰথমতে আমি কম্পিউটাৰাইজ কৰি তাক ডিভিডিলৈ কনভাৰ্ট কৰি লৈছোঁ আৰু এই ডিভিডিখন যেতিয়া এজন মানুহৰ হাতত থাকিব তেতিয়া তেওঁৰ পুথিখিনিৰ সবিশেষ তেওঁ চাবলৈ পুথিখন মেলিব নালাগে, তেওঁ নিজৰ কম্পিউটাৰত বা কোনোবা প্ৰিণ্টাৰৰ সৈতে প্ৰিণ্ট উলিয়াই লৈ তেওঁ পুথিখন পঢ়িব পাৰিব, তাৰ ওপৰত গৱেষণা কৰিব পাৰিব।
Since last 2.5 years, a survey to locate all the manuscripts all over the state of Assam has been conducted.
প্ৰায় 44,000 পুথিৰ আমি সন্ধান অসমত পাইছোঁ। ইয়াত কেৱল বৈষ্ণৱাইত বা সত্ৰত থকা পুথিয়েই নহয়, আমি সংস্কৃত পুথি পাইছোঁ।
A total number of 44,000 of such manuscripts were found. In addition to the manuscripts of the Khatras, we have found manuscripts in Sanskrit, Thai, Sylheti, Khamti, Pali and many such languages.
পূৰ্বজ্যোতি মিউজিয়াম বা সংগ্ৰহালয়ৰ যি আমাৰ উপদেষ্টা কমিটি আছে, এই কমিটিৰ উপদেশ মৰ্মে আমি এখন ইলাষ্ট্ৰেটেড মেনুস্ক্ৰিপ্টৰ কেটলগিঙৰ কাম, এলফাবেটিকেলি কেটলগিঙৰ কাম আমি কৰাইছিলোঁ। ইয়াৰ বাবে গোটেই অসম
An alphabetical cataloging of the illustrated manuscript was also done recently under the guidance of Purvajyoti Museum, and we plan to print them very soon. In addition to the Srimanta Shankardev Kalakshetra Samaj, Kamrup Anusandhan Committee is the other pioneering institute working since last many decades in the field of unearthing ancient history and civilization of Assam through its preservation and archiving efforts. The society is going to celebrate its centenary in the year 2010-2011.